Welcome to How to Run Profitable Retreats. I am Lainey Cavazos, retreat strategist and host of the show for coaches, entrepreneurs, and transformational leaders who want to design retreats that actually make money. If you've ever put your heart into a retreat only to walk away exhausted or worse, broke, you are not alone. This podcast is here to change that. Each week, I'll bring you stories, strategies, and expert insights to help you create meaningful, transformational retreats that also support your business, your lifestyle, and your bottom line. Let's make your next retreat not just powerful, but profitable. Hello, welcome everyone to another podcast episode of How to Run Profitable Retreats. I am your host, Lainey Cavazos, and today I am so excited to have Matthew Brandt here as a guest speaker because guess what? A couple of years ago, he was in one of my programs, and it's my pride and joy to be able to have him here today talk about his tactical retreats, right? And he's a retired 30-year law enforcement officer, and he is a Navy veteran. And he experienced a few traumas in his career for sure. And he just wanted to help other people, right? He has trained and spoke internationally about format accountability and resilience. And he has a proprietary program called Authority Equals Action, Action Equals Accountability. I mean, don't we all need that? Mm-hmm. And I mean, you tell us more about your mission, Matthew, because I know it's a big, big one. And I'm so thrilled to have you here today.
Well, thank you for having me, Lenny. I appreciate it. And I was happy to be part of this when I saw what you were doing. So, just real quick about my background, spent 10 years in the United States Navy and then went directly into law enforcement. As you said, for many years, I worked homicides for many years. So, I've unfortunately seen a lot of stuff that has impact on a person, not only with my mental health but my physical health, and it caught up to me later in my career. And so, as I was transitioning into retirement time, like, what am I going to do? How can I help people so they don't have to wait 30 years before they figure out that trauma can be a problem in a person's life, mentally and physically. So I said, I'm going to start a retreat. I've always wanted to start a retreat. I enjoy going to retreats. So that's exactly what I did. And I really just started, probably like anybody, is like, well, I got a good idea and I'm just going to go for it. So you start your business. So we started a nonprofit. You learn all the stuff behind what it takes to get a nonprofit up and running, all the business side, and then the network. Start building the network, and then of course you got to start trying to figure out funding. And so, the financial thing for me was not an easy task because it just wasn't my background. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to reach out to somebody that can help me maybe figure out this. And I saw your course online. And so I said, well, I'll give it a shot, give it a try. And so got into your class, and I was the only male in the whole class, which was fine. But that kind of plays out to part of my story because just real quickly, as we went through the class, it was so informative, so many steps that I took away from there that helped me. And so when I finally was able to launch I shouldn't say finally, but a few months after that, I launched my first retreat. And it, like any first of anything, it was like nobody knew me, nobody knew anything about the retreat. So, it was sparse. I didn't have very many takers. And then I thought back to our class, and I'm like, these were all ladies in my class. There might be something behind this. So my target audience is military veterans and first responders, which could be nurses, doctors, police officers, firemen, which of course is male and female. So I said, I'm gonna advertise an all-female first responder and veterans retreat and see what kind of response I get. So the response for my original retreat that anybody can come to, I think it was like 5 or 6 people, which was, a good start, but certainly not what I was hoping for. The next month, when I advertised the uh, ladies only veterans retreat, um, I only have 10 beds in my retreat. We have a kind of a small boutique retreat. I had 75 people sign up in the first week. It was simply overwhelming to see that, because now I went from, you know, trying to convince people to come to the retreat to now having to tell people, I'm sorry, you can't come to the retreat because we're way overbooked.
Mm.
And I really do attribute that to how I laid out my presentation, how I laid out the marketing, the pricing, all the stuff that I learned in your class. And so I was very excited when I was able to send you an email and tell you what had happened.
I know.
Anyway,
I,
that's
I
the
mean, I
short
remember
of it.
that email. It's one of my favorite emails to this date because I was like, 76 women on the wait
Yeah,
list.
yeah.
And,
So I think I found a niche is what is the bottom line. I mean,
yeah.
you talked about that. He's like, you got to find that lane and what fits. And, where I originally thought I was primarily going to be male veterans that had come back from the war, turns out to be that it's the women veterans that have come back from the war and the things that they've experienced. So you,
Mm.
you got to be open for change, because you just don't know what exits you're going to take off the highway, and then you run with it.
I love that. I have always this phrase in my mind that says the only thing that is a constant in the universe is change.
Exactly.
Right? That's the only
Exactly.
thing you can really count on, that things are going to change.
Exactly.
And we cannot prevent it. But I think you mentioned something that's so important for everyone who's listening is about like niching down. And I always talk about niching down and becoming the expert of your field, right? Being known as the authority for one thing, like be the best at it. Because when we try to do so many things, we're, the master of none. And people don't really know you or remember you because of that. And you can really help people more when you find this space where you can be like, okay, this is what I want to do. And then, I mean, let's be honest here. You were already niched down in the sense that you were working with first responders and veterans, right?
Hmm.
It was already niched down in a sense. It was for
Right.
trauma, right? So a lot of people might take the box and say, well, I'm niched down. Like, I don't need to like figure out other things.
Right.
But there's niching down of the niching down of the niching down of the niching down of the niching down. And I'm sure now that you've run several retreats, you can probably see also trends of people who are coming. They could have actually a more specialized retreat even.
Absolutely. And we have. And we
Yeah.
have.
See, perfect. I mean, this is so great, Matthew. I mean, I'm like a proud hen.
We should be.
Right? It's just so amazing. And
Well,
to
I'll
be
tell you a
able to
quick
see
little
this.
story if I can
Yeah, go for
about
it.
that very first retreat. So the 10 people that we were able to kind of first come, first serve and got lined up to come. So they all arrived at the appropriate time, within a couple hour window of when we said to arrive. And almost every one of them that got out of the car said, I'm getting back in the car. I can't do this. And I'm like, just take a deep breath, give us a couple hours. And the funny thing about it wasn't just one, it was every single lady that got there said, I don't think I can do this. I'm going home. And some of them have driven 5 or 6 hours to get to us here in Southwest Virginia. And they all were so terrified of what was going to happen um, at a trauma retreat. And I'll tell you, so that was about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday. By 7 o'clock that night, they were sitting around the campfire with their arms around each other, um, saying, I can't, I don't want to go home. So you talk about a change in mindset. If you give people some hope they will latch on to it. Really, I mean, that's the bottom line. If you give them some hope that the reason they're doing something, whatever that something is, be it coming to a retreat in the middle of Virginia or whatever, I really think that changes their mindset, which in the end changes their whole experience. And I'll tell you, by Sunday afternoon, when it was time to go home, and I was ready for everybody to go home because I was exhausted, several of them were like, I really don't want to go. Do you mind if I just like walk the trails for a while and do the zip line again? And I was like, have at it. And so some of them really didn't leave when the retreat was over, and that was fine because they just needed that time to kind of have to themselves and kind of reflect on what had happened over the weekend. And anyway, exhilarating first all ladies retreat.
I really feel that you got something doing. And I know also you took people to do the Camino de Santiago in Spain. You took but it was it like 21 people?
We have, and
Something
that's the next part of the story. That's the other niche that we now have really kind of narrowed down to anymore. So we're doing an international retreat right now, which I never thought I would ever be doing, and the Camino is that retreat. And yeah, we're taking right at 20 to 22 people every year. That's kind of the max on an international retreat where you've really got to worry about housing and food and everything in a different place every night. The logistics of it is extraordinary. And so 20 is really almost too many. But we're lined up again. I've got 22 people going in September to walk up the Portuguese coast out of Porto all the way to Santiago. And in addition to that, we've decided that we got a group of investors together, and we are actually going to buy a albergue in Spain and take our retreats to Spain and actually start in Spain, and then just pretty much run this retreat from Spain. So it's very exciting right now, but again, a new venture, a new business line, having to open up a Spanish business and all that comes with that.
well, the tapas and the paella also come with it. So, I mean,
yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
This is such exciting news. I did not know about this.
Yeah.
But I mean, how we can see, right? For me, really what I see here is you had this passion, right? You had this dream, but you did not just keep it as a dream. You took the steps to make it into like adding the systems, the things behind the scenes that were necessary for you to be able to do it over and over again, right? And then grow and expand. So, I mean, passion is very important, it's necessary, but it's not enough. And seeing how all the love and passion that you had when you would come to the sessions is now translated into this, and then we can see now the expansion. It's just wonderful.
Exactly. It is. It's kind of overwhelming. I was supposed to be retired and like, golfing or something, but not so much.
Suddenly you're like, oops.
Yeah. Now I'm working more than I did as a police officer. But that's okay. Keeps me busy.
But you're helping people, right? At the end of the day, you're helping people. And I am sure there's so many grateful women and men out there that because they've come to your retreat and they went into the woods in Virginia, it made such a difference. Yeah. I mean, I remember, and I remember the pictures of Virginia when we were in the class, and it was like, we're covered in snow, and there was like all this snow, and then you did your first workshop, and a lot of people signed up, but then it was the first day that there was sun out, and then not many people showed up.
I remember that. Yeah. And
I really remember that day very, very clearly because, this was a moment, like a turning point for you, and like at least the way I saw it, where you could decide either I do it again or I can just give up and go play golf, right?
Exactly.
And you chose to keep doing it, even though not many people showed up because, a sunny day was more fun than talking about trauma.
Right.
It was a little bit more
That's
exciting.
Exactly right.
I mean, who wants to talk about Let's be
Yeah.
honest, right? You go because you need to, and there is this like deep desire to get better. You know that your current like the hardship of doing it today,
Right.
it's needed, and you want it because of who you want to be tomorrow.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So, but I remember that, and when you were, you were sharing it, and you said like, "I'm gonna do it again." I was like, "Okay, yes." Like I knew you were gonna make it. Like in that moment, I just knew the grit that you had and the passion and the purpose behind it was so strong that not a sunny day would not stop you, or a rainy day, or a snowy day.
Yeah. Well,
So,
it was after that workshop, that first workshop that uh, was kind of a heartbreak for me, that I started to rethink like, okay, what can we do different, or how can we get people here? That I started thinking about our class and the makeup of it, and that was very telling, and that changed the whole direction of um, our retreat business.
hmm.
So I think you have to. I think my going through that first, I don't want to call it a failure, but that first underwhelming workshop, simply because we were coming out of winter and it was the first sunny day that people could do, yard work and mow the grass and do all the things that, like you say, are, maybe more fun or more interesting than talking about trauma issues. It really made me think that there's got to be another avenue. And so it just opened my mind to what else can we do? And so here we are.
Here we are a couple of years later. I mean, we all know retreats are not for the faint of heart. It takes
Yeah,
time and heart and effort and sweat and all the pieces, but it's just so rewarding that it's all worth it. But we need to, stay steady until like when we get to like, well, reap the
sure,
benefits of what
sure.
we've been sowing.
And even the makeup of our staff, when I when I put out the advertisement for the all ladies retreat, not really expecting what happened.
Mm.
And I didn't really think it through. I knew the program we had would be appropriate for male or female. Um, but what I didn't think about was I can't have 10 women come to my retreat and show up and here's a man running a retreat. I mean, it part of me was like, I can't do that. So I need some help. I need some female help for this retreat. So I reached out to, our uh, our psychologist that helps us, a female. I reached out to two trauma nurses, females. I reached out to kind of our just get her done food and bathrooms and cleaning person, female. Anyway, I gathered 5 ladies and I said, okay, I've done something that I can't I can't undo, and I've invited these 10 women to this retreat that I can certainly teach a piece of it here and there, but they don't want me up there. They don't want me wandering around the retreat. I mean, it's just not. Women don't go to the retreat and want a man walking around, being there all the time. I mean,
Mm.
I was just trying to figure out that's just not. I don't want to say it wasn't appropriate, but you know,
Yeah, they need to open up.
yeah, they're
They're
not going to
going
open
through
up.
healing session. They need to feel comfortable. And
Exactly.
that might not make
Exactly.
it super comfortable. Yeah, I'll tell you about a
Exactly.
story of the first retreat I attended in a second, but finish.
Well, I just said that, I called these 5 ladies together and I said, let's meet this week and come up the retreat. I got to tell you this. And not knowing what reaction I'd get or what their schedules were, but they basically said, we got it. Just tell us the date. We will all be here for the entire weekend. Um, you know, and
Mm.
they absolutely took over everything. They took over the planning of the meals. They took over the check-in, the checkout. They took over teaching at the zip line. They took over the trauma pieces. And I did come up for a couple 1-hour sessions. Um, but I think that was good because I think it was
Yeah.
a little change. And then I was like, okay, I'm out of here. You girls have a good night. And anyway, those ladies, one of them was a yoga instructor. She's like, this was absolutely what I needed because you kind of made us get out of our comfort zone, um, but in such a way that it was, you just told us this is your retreat. This is not my retreat. You ladies own this retreat. You make a decision. You go with it. If something needs to happen, good or bad, this is yours. You totally own it. Um, just let me know how I can support you. And by giving them that autonomy and the ability, they just like, we got it.
Mm.
We'll call you when the bathrooms need cleaning. And so that's really what it was. I mean, like I said, I taught a couple classes on Saturday and one on Sunday, and then I was the bathroom guy, and that was, I was good with that because I could just see from the little interaction I was observing that these ladies were having a transformational uh, weekend.
Mm. I love this. I mean, I'll tell you the story, and for everyone who's listening, might wonder after the story you won't, but as you hear the story, you probably will wonder how did then Lainey end up helping retreat coaches run retreats? And actually, this is one of the reasons is not the one that made me change my path and my career, but it's definitely the one that marked a lot of my personal journey. So maybe 8 or 9 years ago, I don't even know, many years ago, when I was living in Dubai, I decided I wanted to take myself on a retreat to Nepal. At that point, I was so into breath work. That was my thing, right? Then later on, I moved a little bit into sound healing, and I blended it. But I was all into breath work. I was going through this big transformational space. And I loved going on solo trips by myself. At least once a year, I would take a solo trip. So I thought, well, when I don't do it in Nepal, I can book a private retreat and then just go do some breath work, some yoga, and then explore some of the areas of Nepal. So I found this private retreat where you went into someone's house and you stayed with the family. So it was a couple, right? A guy and a woman. And you would stay there for like 5 days. They provided the meals, and there was and the woman was the breathwork teacher, right? So I was like, okay, well, sign me up. This sounds great. I'm gonna have the cultural immersion of Nepal and do all the things. So I go there after a couple of days in Kathmandu. This was in Pokhara. So I flew there, and then I'm in the taxi going to the house. And then suddenly there's this old guy on a bike coming in, and he's like, oh, are you Lainey? And I'm like, yes. It's like, oh, because of your name, I thought you were a man. And I'm like, well, I'm not. Well, I'm the guy from your retreat. Okay. All right. So I was like, what's happening here? So then we went to the house, and I said, like, okay, so where's your wife? And he's like, oh, because we thought you were a man. She went to Maldives to be said her aunt.
Oh my.
And I was like, I signed up to come to this retreat because of your wife and the breath work. He's like, oh, I can teach you. And I'm like, yeah, but not really. Anyway, I stayed there for like 2 nights. I did not feel safe. And the guy was super nice. Nothing wrong with him. I didn't think he was going to do anything, but my nervous system did not understand what my brain did.
Sure.
There was this tiny lock on the door. And then in Nepal, the power goes out all the time, on and off, on and off. It's very, very normal, right? You basically cannot have things on your fridge. So then the power would go out. Everything will go super dark. Then there was this little lock. There was the sounds of the wind. And anyway, at some point I decided I was going to go check myself into a hotel. I said well, maybe we can continue with the retreat, but I'll go into a hotel. And then he was like, you know what? I don't think you're ready for the transformations. He started trying to gaslight me, and you're trying to leave because of that. And I said, look, I'm not asking you for any money back. It's fine, right? If you're doing this because you don't want me to ask you for money back, don't worry. I'm not. I committed to this. I am choosing to leave. So I'm not gonna be, can you refund me because I did not
Right.
stay for all the days? I said, this is a personal choice, and it's not because I'm not ready for the work. It's because I do not feel safe here, and it's not even you. It's not even personal, but I need to make decisions for what I
Sure.
want to do and the things that it is. So I mean, the biggest lesson there for me was like setting my boundaries and speaking my voice and just saying, hey, this is not what I want. And a lot of people who are hosting retreats now or think about going retreats might be like, well, then why did she ever go to another retreat again? And it actually took me years to go back to a retreat because I didn't know better. So that's why I have this big mission, Matthew, behind the scenes to really help all these retreat leaders make better retreats. So the experiences of the people who are coming do not create any like trauma or weird unrealistic expectations of what they're gonna get. I mean,
No, I totally agree.
nothing happened to me, right? I was fine. Like I had a lot of fun, but after I checked out, I was reading books. I was going for sound healing sessions in the morning and in the evenings. I met people. I went water rafting. I mean, I had a blast. Nothing bad happened to me. But the experience of a retreat was not what an experience of a retreat should make people feel.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Well,
I love that you told the story about how you actually brought women to help host and co-lead or co-facilitate this retreat because you were really listening to your audience, to these women who were coming. You were thinking about them, not about you.
Yep. Yep. And that's exactly it. It's exactly what I did. I was like, if I'm one of these ladies coming, and unfortunately, and we learned this in our class that many of the ladies have suffered, sexual trauma. And again, having a man here was not appropriate. They're just like yours. They would not have been able to relax and open up and learn anything had it just been me. And so a lesson well learned.
Yeah. And I know also, and I said that you published your book, right? It was like Footsteps of the Soul. Was it that the one?
It is. It is.
Yes. I'm so happy for you. So we're gonna definitely put the link on the show notes for every one of you. So you can actually go get Matthew's book, Footsteps of the Soul.
Perfect.
Because I mean, you are an inspiration for every retreat leader out there.
Thank you. Thank you.
You
Well,
are.
I guarantee you none of this would have happened if I hadn't have met you by chance. So it worked out well for both of us.
Yes, I mean, it really did. And I'm so excited for everything that is to come, all these other new experiences that you are creating. And I mean, now you need to definitely let me know when you're having your Santiago and you have the house there, because, we'll go there and we'll record a new podcast and be like, hey, now we're actually on the property that we spoke about a while ago. So that's going to be very exciting.
Absolutely.
Oh, Matthew, thank you so much for being here. So if anyone wants to find out about your retreats, what is the best way for them to find you?
Sure. Well, of course, we have a website, www.tacticalretreat.org. Tactical Retreats, all one word, .org. And that's our website to the retreats. Shows a little bit about, what we do and a little bit of about what we have going on here. And then there's a piece in there that is kind of expanding to our Camino de Santiago retreats. So there will be some change coming shortly with our website as we transition to primarily being in Spain only. We don't know if that's going to be actually full-time this year, or it just depends on, how the property goes.
Of course.
And actually, but see how much work we have to do this year to get it up and running. So anyway, but start there. And as you said, the book, I was so excited to actually get it done. The book is about the 3 Caminos that I have walked so far and my experience and the transformations that happen if you kind of let yourself experience the Camino. I'm proud of this book, and it's gotten some great reviews. And there's a companion journal that's I'm about to come out with. It's all done. It's just a matter now of actually getting it out to the posted and everything. So probably within the month, the journal that is the companion to that. That's actually a journal to write in while you walk the Camino de Santiago. So it's just a companion. I'm very excited about that. We'll give that out to everybody that comes to a retreat, so they can have their own way to,
find their own path.
Yeah, find their own path, and then have a plan when they come home. And that was the reason behind the journal, is people were asking, now that the Camino's over, now what? And I didn't really have an answer, as it was a good question. So this journal then allows them to take home and go back over what they've experienced, and how they can integrate it into their life going forward.
Oh, I love it, Matthew. Well, thank you so much for being here. And thank you for everyone who has been listening to this. If you know of someone who would really benefit from listening to this episode, please share it with them. And I will see you all next week. Bye.